much. Welcome in Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. I'm Dan Diker. Thanks for joining us on another exciting program. Lots of video to show you this week as big night at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. And these points championships are really starting to get undone. Late model, maybe not necessarily, but if you look at the Sportsman and Thunder stocks, that thing is going to be wide open all the way until Oktoberfest. We're going to start things off today with a lot of video. As we do each and every race show, we recap what happened at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway last weekend. And we'll start with the last two of the late model feature. And again, it's always nice to see father and son run door to door. That's exactly what happened here towards the completion of this race as Adam Degenhardt's taken a couple of nights off this year and came back out in his Degenhardt Garage 03. There you see him pulling Steve Carlson out of the corners with a white flag to fly. And for Adam Degenhardt, he's about to collect his first checkered flag win of 2014. He was awfully fast all night long. So he didn't like how he qualified. But as the night progressed, he really started grabbing that 5/8 mile. He held off Steve Carlson for the feature win. The other battle you see was way back. That was Mike Carlson fending off a couple of drivers to top Cole Howland. And Howland somehow had a backfire on the front straightaway, and he lost him a little bit of speed as he was heading into the corners. That enabled Mike Carlson to take third. Cole Howland did take fourth. Matt Henderson, always in the hunt, rounded out the top four. Heat race wins went to Todd Korsh and Brandon Berg. Fast Dash went to Mike Carlson. And this race, or this set of races on Saturday night, was now without its two spectacular crashes. The first one we're going to show you is Red Wing, Minnesota's Steve O'Brien. He drives the 03 Quick Trip NASCAR late model. And this is up around the back straightaway into turn 3. He and Steve Owen. And that was a hard hit right there. As you see parts flying, he almost went over the wall down the back straightaway. Never did, look at that body just shaking. Never did get a good understanding of what actually happened here. And see if we can get a better view as our cameras in turn 1. As Owen is trying to keep his pace there in the back straightaway. It looks like O'Brien just kind of drifted up the banking there and almost collected Owen. And a hard hit for the man from Red Wing, Minnesota. Great shot of that body just flying all over the place. And tough break for Steve O'Brien. Hopefully he can get that thing collected up and back on the racetrack before the end of the year. Second big crash we had of the night. A man that's been struggling to keep that thing on the racetrack. When he does, he has a great time doing it. This is going to be Travis Christensen. I watch Sean Paff from the Durango Racing 21. Sean just comes away from the rest of the pack. He collects Christensen. He takes the front straight barrier wall awfully hard. And what a shot that was. And haven't had a chance to talk with Sean to find exactly what happened there, but you noticed he just kind of broke away from the other rest of the pack and drove Christensen right into the wall. According to Christensen's Facebook this week, his racing Facebook, he may be back before the end of the season, and it could be sooner than later. So we're going to keep tabs on Travis Christensen. Of course, both drivers were unhurt in those wrecks. To the Sportsman we go. One of my guests of the program today is going to be on this highlight reel here in just a second. As this was an interesting race. I wish we could have put in 5 or 6 laps. Maybe our winner doesn't want that to happen. If we could have put in 5 or 6 laps on the board right here, how interesting it could have been between Brian Hesselberg, Steve Bachman, Greg Scheck, and Billy Martin, and maybe even Jamie Dummer, who is still in the points battle here. Look at that log jam with those 3 cars right there. Their leader crossing the stripe. He drives the 08 Clements Automotive. Fastest lemonade stand on wheels. That's Nick Clements, and he captures his feature race win, which we're going to talk to him on the program today about that. That was huge. Look at Hesselberg making a last lap run on the outside, which a lot of guys don't like to do, especially when you're running against Greg Scheck. And Hesselberg getting it done. And he's had a couple of strong finishes here over the past couple of weeks. He'll take a second-place finish. Bachman takes third, Scheck fourth. Billy Martin rounds out the top 5. Mark Chalet comes back out, gets a heat race win, and the Fast Dash was taken home by Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster. To the Thunder stocks we go, 16 cars strong in the Action Track quarter mile, and this one here has turned into quite the points battle with 4 different cars. You had Jordan Myers. Been a while since he's got himself a feature race win. But he did it in style, holding off a man that's really kind of dominated this class this year. It would be Jason Schaller in that one and only El Camino. Second one I've ever seen at the track in my time announcing out there. And Myers just got some clean air, pulled away, and had no problems with the rest of the field as he'll tug on that left wheel 2 more times and to collect himself a checker flag win. Jason Schaller second, Jason Bolster third, Thomas Farr fourth, and Andy Moore fifth. The top 4 in the point standings, about 15 points separate those 4, and they ended up in the top 5. Watch that to go down to Oktoberfest. To the street stocks we go. Had a nice field of 15 cars, 2 of those minivans, and John Aaron, the madman, Hornet driver extraordinaire, still remains the man to beat. He's only got 1 loss on the season, 8 straight feature wins out of 8 races. He's only lost 1 race, and that was a heat race about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But Kyle Rosick gave him a run for his money at the line in that Escort GT as Aaron wins by about a half a car length. And one of the reasons Rosick was so fast this night, he set a new track record on the Action Track quarter mile for the street stocks. And just watch how close this gets as one more punch of the accelerator for Rosick. Just couldn't get it done. The hand comes out the window. John Aaron now is 8 for 8 in feature race wins at the Crosse Speedway in the street stocks. It was Rosick second, Mike Peters third in that minivan. Steve Brosda takes fourth. That's John Aaron's crew chief. And Dan Osthoff rounds out the top 5. Again, new track record in qualifying for Kyle Rosick. Rosick also won a heat race on the night. John Aaron won the other. So watch for those 2 to scrub panels here on our next street stock race. The big finale of the night had a huge crowd. They were out to watch 17 competitors in the first trailer race of destruction. A little bit of everything out here. You see Melissa Rouge has a boat. You've got a couple of campers out there. Dakota Miller was out in that big yellow camper. That black Altered State Lediger roofing camper really didn't do too much. Watch this right here. This is in honor of Caleb Miller. And that's Dakota's younger brother that we lost in a snowmobile accident earlier this year, back in March. And the camper was decked out for Caleb and Billy Bob's Garage and for the entire Miller Racing team. And our producer did a nice job of putting some highlights together of one of the most interesting races to call. That Jeep was pretty sharp, too. I would have taken that Jeep home. Now, that was the first spin for that big black camper that really didn't have too much damage. He ends up causing a huge log jam, which you'll see here in a couple of seconds, up in turn 2, where Dakota Miller found himself wedged, and with the help of Chris Critter Sampson, got a chance to get that thing out of there. Just parts all over the place. There's Miller bumping his way through. The Lediger roofing camper again really didn't have much damage. He kind of stayed out of the way as he was running the outside rail through the end of the night. Jason Bolster running out there. You saw Andy Moore driving a blue minivan, which sounded pretty bad by the time this race was over with. And again, I'm going to find out who had that Jeep. I'd like to take it home. A lot of sinks on the racetrack, too. First time I'd seen that many sinks out there. You see Chris Critter Sampson right there in that Ford Bronco that helped your winner right there, Dakota Miller, get the championship. He's won a couple of these now at the Crosse Speedway and did it in honor of his brother Caleb and the entire Miller Racing clan. So there you have it, your race recap from Saturday night. When we return, we've got not 1 but 2 guests in the program today. We're going to go dual sportsman drivers next on 7 Rivers Racing.
Get ready for the Thunder!
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
For a limited time, save over $600 on select American Standard systems. Call now for details.
Holman American Legion Post 284. It's all about veterans' rights, quality of life. The Legion belongs to the veterans it serves. the American Legion supports Holman High School sports and local NASCAR racing. Did you know the Legion is open to the public? Stop by for a cold one. Tuesday lunch is a home-cooked meal. Supper is Buck Burgers. Thursday, it's tacos. They can be the place for your wedding reception or meeting. Holman American Legion. It's for veterans and for the people of Holman.
At Cousin Subs, we never settle for good. We always strive for better. Since 1972, we've been creating our signature Deli Fresh subs. We start with fresh bread that's baked every day. Then we freshly chop vegetables and slice the meat daily. It's how we do it, and always have. Why? Because you deserve better.
We're back. Seven Rivers Racing, KQED TV. I'm Dan Dyker. Coming up this weekend, La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. Another huge night of racing coming up. We've got almost every division running this weekend, as we've got Late Model Sportsman, Thunder Stocks, the Hornets are back out again, and the Outlaws. Can Cole Shozy hold on to that 3-point lead he has over Wayne Smith? Going to be interesting to see. Also have a tough truck competition. Tried it last year. I don't think word had really gotten out as what we were doing. But we expect a lot of trucks. If you've got a tough truck and you can pull your weight around the racetrack, well, this is your opportunity to do it. Contact the track at 786-1525 or email them at lacrossespeedway.com. Qualifying at 6:15, racing at 7:30. Friday night at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, we had a great attendance last week, and a 13-year-old Dustin Sorensen ended up winning the $1,000 B-Mod Challenge. That was outstanding, coming from a long line of Sorensen Racing clan up towards the Fountain City region. This Friday night, it's going to be a spotlight shown on a local racing legend, Jim Schell, who raced a bunch in the 70s and 80s, La Crosse Speedway, raced Toma, raced Westby, raced when it was a trial in Fountain City. They're going to have an annual race in honor of him and his family this Friday night. And every driver in every division is going to get what's called hard charger bonus money. The driver who races to the highest finishing position from the lowest starting spot is going to get some extra cash put in their wallets by the end of the night. Again, MississippiThunder.com for more information there. And we're going to be talking dirt racing a whole lot more with Kyle Solberg on the program next weekend. Coming up also Friday night, Mississippi Thunder Speedway. We start the night at 6 o'clock with the A and B mini mods. 7 o'clock we go to the A mods, the B mods, the street stocks, super stocks, pure stocks, and the 600 mods. Well, we're going to go back to the La Crosse Speedway with both of our guests in the program today. It's going to be a pleasure to have both of these guys in. I've got to know them quite well over the years I've been in La Crosse. And that would be the number 50 sportsman of Tom Luethe and the number 8. He drives the fastest lemonade stand on wheels, and that'd be Nick Clements. What's up, guys?
Hey. How you doing?
Good to have you back in the program here. We're going to start things off with Nick right off the bat. Man, congratulations. Got a feature race winner after what's been a weird past 4 weeks for you at the Speedway.
Yeah, it hasn't been too friendly.
Of course, we go back to, was it the July 4th? We raced a Thursday, Saturday. Had to have been two of the oddest races you've been through in quite a while at La Crosse.
Yeah, it was a lot of working on the car, and we got it fixed finally.
Of course, the Thursday night race, I thought you were done for the year. I mean, I wish we would have had that video to show back here. You wrecked quite hard. Yeah,
I was up on the wall and damaged the frame quite a bit, but oddly enough, it didn't wreck any suspension, so we were able to do some welding on the frame and getting it back out there.
And of course, I'm on Facebook late that night, and here's pictures of you guys welding the car like 1 o'clock in the morning, because you would have come back out and race on Saturday night, 2 nights later.
Yeah, I had to go to work actually at 10:30 that night, so as soon as the car got wrecked, I hopped out of the car and got a ride to work, and I went and worked until 3 in the morning and then started on it right away.
And then Saturday night rolled around, and it was more parts flying off the 8 car.
Yeah, we got they spun out in front, and there's just nowhere to go. You got everybody checking up, and bumper cars, usually the car up front doesn't fare too well.
Right. Well, it obviously, we've had, about a month now since both of those instances happened on almost back-to-back race nights. Obviously, not too much has gone wrong, because you had a very, very impressive feature race win this past weekend.
Yeah, it was a real good day overall. It was fast in qualifying. We qualified first and then third in the dash, which helped, but it was handling. It's still not quite there, but it'll get there.
Let's go back and we're going to show the last 2 laps as we did earlier in the program of the last 2 laps of the feature here in the Sportsman. And, as I watched you as you was trying to pull away from the pack right here, look at this logjam of the guys that you're competing with for the points. I mean, almost the top 5 in points are running 1 through 5 right here.
Yeah, it's Greg had a tire cut down, actually. That's why he started fading back. Otherwise, it would have been probably an interesting finish because the car was getting tighter and tighter, so I was doing all I could to hold it on the bottom.
And, of course, now exactly where you are there going up in the corners, you really can't see in your mirrors, and you guys don't do a lot of mirror racing anyways, but can you see how far back this pack is?
At that point, I could, but I could see Greg coming. So. And
you knew with 2 laps to go that you weren't coming off the accelerator.
Right, exactly.
And again, Shaq and Hesselberg, Brian Hesselberg, you guys pit right next to him too, and have gotten to know him quite well. Hesselberg's had a couple of nice runs here the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've known each other all of our lives, so really good friends.
Nick Clements, Tom Luethe on the program today. It was interesting. I usually don't really dive into the points until later in the week when I get the radio show and the TV show getting ready to go. We started the races last weekend with Greg Scheck, the point leader, and Jamie Dummer and Steve Bachman were both 18 points back, tied for second. And you were telling me as we were getting ready to tape the program today, congratulations again. You're in this thing, man. You're in this almost till Oktoberfest now when you look at the top 4 in points.
Yeah, it's never over. I mean, I've lost a 70-point lead with 3 weeks to go, so it's never over. Anything can happen, and we'll see what goes on.
We talked about that with some drivers in the program last year that I'm trying to number crunch here. When you talk about a sportsman, because it's kind of set up the same way in the late models, you can lose a whole boatload of points in just one night.
Yeah, DNF's hurt. I mean, you have to finish the race. That's what I was always taught, is bring it home in one piece and go on to the next week. So
how much have you figured out now from the car, and not to say, I'm not downing you at all, the quick time qualification to me was quite the surprise because Bachman's had 5 or 6 this year. Scheck at any given time is going to be able to get one. Billy Martin's got a couple of them this year. So you get a quick time qualification, then you go and win a feature. Of course, the track conditions aren't going to be the same thing every single weekend, but how many minor adjustments do you just stop doing because of how well the car ran last weekend?
We're always changing stuff because you always want to get faster. That's the whole part of it. I got a lot of good guys that Ryan Powell and Randy Humfeld, they've both been helping out all year, so they know what they're doing.
Kind of interesting, Tom, being a teammate of yours, you pit on the other side of the racetrack.
No, I actually pit right next to him, but...
Okay, because I know for a while you were over by the Gilsters.
Yeah, last year I was, and now that we're kind of teammates, I've been pitting by him.
I think every time that you're in the pit areas, I'm eating. Because then when you're on the track, I'm over bugging you guys. Tom running first Rookie of the Year this year in his sportsman. And talking about shares of meat in the wall, you've done that a couple of times this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. The first time I probably could have avoided, but it was a rookie mistake. And the second time I got caught up in it. So it's just part of the deal, I guess.
Well, we're going to talk more about that because I'm getting flashbacks to seeing that black number 50 up between turns 3 and 4 up on the wall, and that was a mighty hard hit he had. Tom Luethe and Nick Clements, sportsman drivers from the Crosse Speedway, joining me in the program. We're going to take a quick break and come back and pick these guys' minds a little bit more next on 7 Rivers Racing.
We're here when the sun rises. And when the bread rises too. And we're here slicing a deli fresh every day. And every morning, we're chopping it all up. Why do we put so much effort into making it fresh? Because you deserve better.
Holman American Legion, Post 284. It's all about veterans' rights, quality of life. The Legion belongs to the veterans it serves. The American Legion supports Holman High School sports and local NASCAR racing. Did you know the Legion is open to the public? Stop by for a cold one. Tuesday lunch is a home-cooked meal. Supper is Buck Burgers. Thursday, it's tacos. They can be the place for your wedding reception or meeting. Holman American Legion. It's for veterans and for the people of Holman.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
For a limited time, save over $600 on select American Standard systems. Call now for details.
Get ready for the Thunder.
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modifieds,
600 mods.
pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder.
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
We're back one more time. Seminoles Racing, K2EG-TV. I'm Dan Dyker. My guests on the program, a couple of sportsman teammates this year. We've got Nick Clements. He drives the number 8 fastest lemonade stand on wheels. And Tom Luethe, rookie, going for Rookie of the Year. He drives the black number 50. And, I got to give you some kudos because you and I talked quite a bit during the wintertime of what you were going to be doing racing this year. When you finally threw some pictures on Facebook, you got a sharp-looking sportsman.
Thank you. Yeah, I spent a lot of time once we got it to my house working on it, and it turned out pretty nice.
And that was somewhat of a new deal during the wintertime because I think there had to have been a portion of the wintertime you were unsure as what you were going to do this year.
Yeah, I wasn't really planning on racing this year, but then I heard that car was sitting for the year, so I decided to give Kevin a call up, and we got a deal together. Has
it been what you thought it was going to be? I mean, obviously you were going off the Thunderstock Championship here a couple of years ago, and then you spent a lot of years in the action track quarter mile. Then you all of a sudden go to the big track, and it's a whole different story.
Yeah, it's been kind of a struggle, but I've had a couple of heat wins, so that's been pretty nice. But now that haven't been fixing the car and have time to actually work on it and make things better, it's starting to get a little better.
Now that you're teammates with, of course, Kevin Owen, part of this group here, how much have you leaned on Nick when it comes to setups or maybe driving different parts of the 5/8 mile? And how much have you leaned on this year?
I'm always, pretty much every week, I'm always over at his house once, asking him something, seeing what I can do to make my car better.
Because you guys are like when I make my rounds in the pits, I usually just stop by and wave. Because you guys are always doing something. You're never sitting around and sitting in front of a fan. You guys are always discussing things and tires. I mean, you guys are always talking. And it's got to feel good to be part of for both of you guys to be part of a team this year.
Yeah, there's like 6 cars over there that everybody helps each other, and if you got a problem, actually, everybody helps each other at the track. That's the nice part about racing.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter what class it is either. And I've said this in the show many times. You could have a late model wreck, and all of a sudden, sitting in the announcer's tower, I can look right down to the pits and see a big flurry of people running. You got Thunderstock drivers, sportsmen, Hornets. Doesn't matter what class it is. You guys are always helping everybody else out.
Right.
And is that one of the reasons you like to come back to the Speedway? Is because you know of the camaraderie and the friendships that are out there?
That, and we're like a mile away.
That makes it easy. Nick will never show up late for qualifying if he does, so we're going to know why. Talk about your years so far here. Obviously, you didn't expect to be where you were. Everyone has the aspiration of getting a track championship. I mean, it happens as soon as the driver's orientation meeting is over in March and you get ready to set sail. But did you feel that you'd be this close, this late in the season?
That was the whole reason why we bought that car, is because we knew the caliper of it. It's a championship car. It's a good car.
Now, that was Randy Humfeld's from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that was kind of, because you teased me a little bit during the winter that you had something that was in the works but wouldn't let me know what it was. And all of a sudden, the first picture you see on his Facebook was the side panel and the number had been rubbed off. Or I'm like, wait, that car looks awfully familiar. And, of course, it was Randy Humfeld's. How much of a change did you have to do from the way Randy had that set up to the way you have it set up?
It's 4 springs for sure, and then everybody drives different. he's changed the late model way more than 4 springs. So.
Yeah, now and that's the other thing I was going to bring up is the late model he's running this year. Whose is that?
And that's mine.
And it was interesting because when I interviewed him on the track here about a month or so ago, he didn't even know he was going to start the season in a late model. How did that work out?
Well, we had that couple weeks off after the opener, and then I drove the first night, 2 cars driving around. You know, I did it for a while last year, but it's too much work. And so we went down and practiced one day, and he hopped in it, and he said, I'll get some tires for it. And so I was like, oh, go ahead. Here's the run.
Now, I tell you, he's making the point lead that Jack Litchheim had for Rookie of the Year. He's making that quite interesting because each and every weekend he's slowly chipping into that lead. And he missed a couple of nights.
Yeah, he missed the first night, but he had bad luck there a couple weeks ago when he spun out. He actually, it wasn't his fault.
Right.
The tire went flat. The left rear, he had a flat tire earlier in the night, so they plugged it, and the plug popped out. So,
ouch.
Running 4th.
Tom, of course, you'd like to get that feature race win this year. Still got time to do it. You're sum up your season so far.
A lot of highs and a lot of lows.
Talk about some of the highs.
Obviously, the heat wins, and as the year's been progressing, I've been getting better in qualifying, and it's just starting to figure the car out more.
What is it about qualifying that baffles drivers? I think that's the biggest thing when I interview you guys on the racetrack or talk to you in the pits is, man, I just can't figure out qualifying. You can win heats, you can win features. What is it about qualifying that's so tough amongst yourself and almost every driver that qualifies at lacrosse?
I think it's everyone pushing the car to their max and trying to get the best time. And for me, the last few weeks, I've screwed up on the last lap and got loose, but it's always just something.
How much does the track conditions play in that? Because obviously we're qualifying at 6:15. The track is still warm if we have a hot day like we're supposed to have this coming Saturday. And then when you get around to the feature, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, dark outside. Does that have a lot to play into that, from qualifying that early to the time you guys run heats and then run your features?
Oh, yeah. The track condition always is changing. Like this last week, my car got really tight in the feature, and it was really good in the heat race, and you just got to adjust to it.
And it's obviously quick time qualifying for you this week was quite the surprise.
Yeah, I knew it had it in it. It was handling good, so it's gotten, well, we qualified fast time the 3rd that night.
Right.
When we got up on the wall, so I knew it could be done.
Well, before we go, I let Tom Luethe and Nick Clements go on the program. I know you guys have some great sponsors that have continued to help you guys both out. Tom, we'll start with you. And who's helping you out here in 2014?
I want to thank Feature Sports Bar and Grill in Holman, A1 Fire Protection, Gilboa's Muskie Lounge, CNC Towing and Recovery, Gilster Farms, Frog Racing, Tundra Super Late Series, Epic Media, Doug's Classic Plastics, KO Designs, Johnny Hobbies, and River City Corvette Club.
Alrighty, Nick, I know you've got some plentiful sponsors helping you out this year.
Yeah, definitely. Thank my wife Amber, and my daughter Emery, and my family and friends, and Kevin for putting it together. You know, I mean, we had a good crew. Mike, Ed, and Mila, and then Randy and Ryan for helping out in the pits. It's been awesome. And I got Interstate Roofing, Clements Automotive, The Bank, Redneck Express, The Vault, A1 Advanced Pumping, Check Advance, Gilboa's Muskie Lounge, Tundra Super Late Model Series, Butch's Slot Car Bodies, Doug's Classic Plastics, Lloyd's Speed Stop, Johnny's Hobbies International, Epic Media, River City Corvette Club, and Dwayne and Sherry Elson.
Alrighty, Nick Clements, coming off a very impressive feature race win this past weekend, finds himself amongst 4 drivers that are going for the chase for the Grand National Sportsman Point Championship, which will be crowd up here in Oktoberfest. And still in the hunt for Rookie of the Year, Tom Luethe, and a sportsman this year, and expect some good things out of him. Guys, I appreciate you both coming in midday like this to tape. Greatly appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, you're going to see them both back out at the Crosse Speedway this Saturday night. Nick Clements, Tom Luethe again. I want to thank Kevin Owen for helping us get both those guys on the program. Check us out on YouTube at Seven Rivers Racing. I also have these guys on the radio show coming up on AM 580 to the KTY from 1 until 2 on Saturday. I'm Dan Dyker on behalf of Tom Luethe and Nick Clements. Have a great week. We'll see you at the Crosse Speedway. This is Seven Rivers Racing.